This quote from Arthur Schopenhauer isn't just a reflection. It's a call to embrace solitude as the space where your truest self emerges. Schopenhauer saw being alone not as loneliness, but as liberation, a chance to connect with your thoughts, your purpose, your freedom. What if the moments you spend by yourself, away from the noise of the world, are where you find your greatest strength? Imagine for a second that solitude isn't a void to escape, but a sanctuary waiting to be explored. Every time you close the door to distractions, every quiet evening spent with your thoughts, what if these are the moments when you come alive? In a world that demands constant connection, Schopenhauer, one of philosophy's deepest thinkers, argued that solitude is your greatest ally, a place to discover who you are and what you're meant to do. Take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt a spark of clarity during a walk alone, or found an idea blossoming in a quiet hour? Maybe it was a night journaling your dreams, or a day unplugged from the chaos. Those aren't empty times. Schopenhauer believed they're where your inner world takes shape, where you build a life of meaning. Today, we're journeying into Schopenhauer's philosophy, exploring why solitude isn't just a retreat, but a powerful tool for growth, creativity, and strength. This isn't about isolating yourself or shunning others. It's about embracing alone time to unlock your potential. By the end of this exploration, you'll not only understand why solitude matters, but also have practical ways to make it your ally. And trust me, the final insight we'll share might just change how you see your time alone. Schopenhauer saw solitude as a gift, a rare chance to escape society's pressures and hear your own voice. To him, the world's demands, its expectations and noise, often drown out your true self. But in solitude, you're free to think, to dream, to create without judgment. What could you discover about yourself if you leaned into those quiet moments instead of running from them? Let's pause and think. Have you ever avoided being alone because it felt uncomfortable, only to find later that silence brought you peace? What if solitude is trying to teach you something vital about who you are? In this video, we'll dive into Schopenhauer's ideas, weave in stories from history, myth, and modern life, and share steps to harness solitude's power. Are you ready to step into the quiet and see what it reveals? Stay with us, because this journey into Schopenhauer's world is just beginning. To understand why solitude is your ally, we need to grasp Schopenhauer's view of the self and the world. He believed life is driven by a restless will, an inner force pushing us toward desires and struggles. Society amplifies this, bombarding us with expectations, comparisons, and distractions. But solitude, it's a refuge. Schopenhauer argued that only when you're alone can you step back, reflect, and connect with your deeper self, the part that isn't swayed by the crowd. Think of your mind as a garden. The world's noise is like weeds, crowding out your thoughts. Solitude is the time to tend that garden, to nurture your ideas, your values, your dreams. Schopenhauer didn't see this as selfish, he saw it as essential. Without solitude, you risk living someone else's life, chasing goals that aren't yours. For him, being alone was the path to authenticity, to a life shaped by your own truth. Let's anchor this in a story. Schopenhauer himself cherished solitude, often spending hours walking alone, lost in thought. Despite his prickly reputation, he wasn't a hermit. He engaged with the world, but on his terms. His quiet moments fueled his philosophy, works like The World as Will and Representation that still resonate today. His solitude wasn't isolation, it was creation, a space to wrestle with life's big questions. What questions might your solitude help you answer? Schopenhauer's view wasn't about rejecting connection, it was about balance. He believed too much reliance on others dilutes your individuality. Think of a time you felt pressured to fit in, maybe at a job or social circle. Didn't it drain you? In solitude, you reclaim that energy, you rediscover what makes you unique. That's the ally Schopenhauer celebrated, the quiet that lets you become yourself. Here's a modern example. Consider Isaac Newton, who developed his laws of physics during a year of solitude, forced by a plague. Away from distractions, his mind flourished, producing ideas that changed science forever. Schopenhauer would say Newton's solitude was his greatest ally, not a burden. What could your alone time produce if you gave it a chance? Schopenhauer also saw solitude as the cradle of creativity. He argued that great thinkers, artists, and innovators need time alone to let their ideas breathe. Crowds demand conformity, but solitude offers freedom. Ever notice how your best ideas come when you're alone? Maybe driving or showering. That's not random. It's your mind thriving in the quiet. Let's hold that thought and dive deeper into how solitude shapes us and what it unlocks within. Now that we've laid Schopenhauer's foundation, let's explore how solitude becomes your ally in practice. It's not just about being alone, it's about using that time to grow, to create, to strengthen your core. Schopenhauer's philosophy shows us how solitude reveals truths about ourselves and fuels our purpose. Let's look at the ways solitude manifests and what it offers. First, solitude fosters self-discovery. Schopenhauer believed that only in silence can you hear your true thoughts, unfiltered by others' opinions. Imagine you're upset about a choice, a career move, a relationship. In a crowd, you might get advice, but alone, you dig deeper. You ask, what do I really want? That question can change everything. Solitude is like a mirror, showing you who you are, not who you're told to be. Let's look at history. Henry David Thoreau retreated to Walden Pond, seeking solitude to understand himself. His time alone produced Walden, a book that still inspires us to live deliberately. Schopenhauer would see Thoreau's solitude as a dialogue with his soul, uncovering his truth. What truth might your solitude reveal about you? Second, solitude sparks creativity. Schopenhauer argued that original ideas need space to grow, away from the clamor of conformity. When you're alone, your mind wanders, connecting dots others don't see. Think of a moment you solved a problem alone, maybe a work challenge or a personal goal. That wasn't luck, it was solitude giving your creativity room to breathe. Mythology offers a parallel. Think of Athena, goddess of wisdom, born from Zeus's head in solitude. Her birth wasn't chaotic, it was a quiet act of creation, a spark of insight. Your alone time can birth similar insights, ideas that shape your path. Have you ever had a breakthrough when alone? What did it teach you? Third, solitude builds resilience. Schopenhauer believed relying on yourself strengthens your inner core. In a world that pulls you in every direction, standing alone, even briefly, teaches you trust in your thoughts, your instincts, your worth. Ever faced a tough choice alone and come out stronger? That's solitude being your ally, not your enemy. Let's bring in a pop culture example. In The Lord of the Rings, Frodo often walks alone, bearing the ring's weight. Those moments don't weaken him, they forge his resolve, preparing him for his purpose. Schopenhauer would say Frodo's solitude was his strength, a space to grow into his role. Your solitude might not involve epic quests, but it's just as powerful. What strength has being alone helped you find? Finally, Schopenhauer emphasized solitude's role in freedom. He saw society as a web of expectations, tying you to roles you didn't choose. Alone, you break free. You decide what matters, what to pursue, what to let go. Imagine saying no to a draining obligation because you've learned your worth in silence. That's the freedom Schopenhauer prized. What could you let go of in solitude to feel freer? As we move forward, we'll explore how to make solitude your ally, not just to enjoy it, but to thrive in it. Your alone time isn't a gap, it's a gateway to your potential. Let's uncover how to step through it. Understanding solitude's power is one thing, but how do you actually embrace it? Schopenhauer's philosophy isn't just about thinking, it's about living. He didn't want us to fear being alone, he wanted us to use it. Let's walk through practical steps to make solitude your ally, blending Schopenhauer's insights with tools you can apply today. This is where your quiet moments become your strength. The first step is to reframe solitude. Schopenhauer saw it as a gift, not a punishment. If you dread being alone, ask why. Is it fear of your thoughts? Boredom? Write down what comes up. Then flip it. Instead of, I'm lonely, try, I'm free to think. This shift changes everything. It makes solitude a choice, not a burden. Try this next time you're alone. Even for 10 minutes, notice how it feels. Don't fill it with your phone or noise. Just sit with it. Ask, what's this quiet teaching me? you might find it's not empty at all. What's one thing you could do alone today to feel free? Next, carve out intentional alone time. Schopenhauer valued deliberate solitude, not just random moments. Schedule it, even if it's an hour a week. Use it to reflect, maybe journal your goals or question your choices. For example, if you're stressed about work, write, "What's driving the stress? What do I want instead?" Solitude gives you space to find answers. A real-life example, Virginia Woolf wrote in Solitude, crafting novels like Mrs. Dalloway that captured the human soul. Her alone time wasn't wasted. It was sacred, a space for her voice to emerge. Schopenhauer would say her solitude was her muse. Try this. Block off 30 minutes this week for yourself. What could you explore in that time? Then use solitude to create. Schopenhauer saw alone time as the birthplace of originality. Your quiet moments are perfect for projects. Writing, drawing, planning a business, anything that's yours. Don't worry about perfection, just start. Creativity in solitude builds confidence. It shows you what you're capable of. Think of Nikola Tesla, whose solitary experiments led to inventions that lit the world. His time alone wasn't lonely, it was electric, sparking ideas that changed history. Schopenhauer would say Tesla's solitude was his genius. What small creative act could you try alone this week? Another step is to listen to yourself. Schopenhauer believed solitude lets you hear your inner voice, the one society often drowns out. When you're alone, ask big questions. What do I value? What's my purpose? Write the answers, even if they're messy. Over time, patterns emerge, guiding you toward your truth. Here's an exercise. Spend 10 minutes alone and write one thing you've always wanted to do, maybe travel, learn a skill, help others. Then ask, what's stopping me? Solitude helps you face those barriers honestly. What's one desire your solitude could help you uncover? Next, practice saying no. Schopenhauer saw freedom in setting boundaries. Solitude teaches you your worth, so you don't need others' approval. If a commitment drains you, politely decline. Use that time for yourself instead. For example, skip a party to read or reflect, and notice how it feels. That's solitude empowering you. A modern example, Maya Angelou often retreated alone to write, producing works like I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Her solitude wasn't escape, it was strength, a space to tell her story. Schopenhauer would say her alone time was her liberation. What could you say no to this week to reclaim your time? Finally, embrace discomfort. Schopenhauer knew solitude can feel heavy at first. It forces you to face yourself. Don't run from that. Lean in. If you feel restless, ask, what's this restlessness about? Maybe it's a sign to change something, a job, a habit. Solitude's discomfort is often its greatest gift. It pushes you to grow. Consider Albert Einstein, whose solitary walks led to theories that reshaped physics. The quiet wasn't always easy, but it was where he found clarity. Schopenhauer would say Einstein's solitude was his compass. What discomfort in your alone time could lead to growth? These steps aren't a one-off, they're a practice. The more you lean into solitude, the more it becomes your ally. Your alone time isn't a flaw, it's your foundation. Let's wrap up by exploring why this matters for you and the world you shape. As we close this journey, let's reflect on what we've uncovered. Solitude isn't a punishment, it's a privilege. Arthur Schopenhauer taught us that being alone doesn't mean being lost. It means being found by yourself, for yourself. By embracing solitude, you discover your voice, ignite your creativity, and build a strength no one can take away. Think about it. Every moment you spend alone is a chance to become more you. That quiet walk that cleared your mind, it wasn't wasted. That night you questioned your path, it was building your future. Schopenhauer's words hold true. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. Solitude is your ally, your space to shine. But this isn't just about you. Schopenhauer believed those who find themselves in solitude inspire others. Imagine a world where more people listen to their inner voice, created from their truth, lived authentically. Noise would fade, understanding would grow, and individuality would thrive. By embracing solitude, you're not just shaping your life, You're planting seeds for a richer world. Let's return to myth one last time. Think of Persephone, who found her power in the underworld's solitude. Her time alone didn't diminish her. It transformed her into a queen. Your solitude is doing the same, crafting you into the person you're meant to be. The question is, will you embrace it? Here's my challenge. This week, carve out 1 hour for yourself. No distractions, just you. Write, walk, think, create. Ask, what's my solitude teaching me? 1 hour can spark something profound. I want to hear from you. What's a moment of solitude that changed you? And how can it be your ally? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story could light the way for someone else. If this resonated, hit that like button and subscribe for more journeys into the mind and soul. Thank you for joining me in Schopenhauer's quiet world. May you find the courage to embrace solitude, the wisdom to listen to yourself, and the strength to become who you are. Until next time, keep seeking the quiet, keep finding yourself.